And now we're on the other side. Brother Owl reporting back for sacred duty. Thank you for those of you who have stayed with us during my 6-month time away. And also, I'm very delighted to welcome another 100 subscribers to our channel. Thank you and welcome, Soul Tribe. Your presence and your patience and your comments and acknowledgments, especially sharing the channel too with kindred spirits, are so appreciated. Thank you. Soul fam, I've said before, this channel is not about me, but sometimes I offer things of myself in my life to, to include in the content where it's appropriate. Being that I've been away for 6 months, I feel that I actually owe you some bit of that. And so let me just touch on it now, not making it about me, but just to let you know a little bit of background. I've been struggling a lot. I've come to realize that it is, for me personally, I'm not going to call it, the dark night of the soul. I've had 3 or 4 of those in my life. This is different. What I'm calling this is the greatest existential crisis I've ever had on a soul level. Not exaggerating. I don't want to reveal too much of it, as it is incredibly personal, but you'll probably be able to tease out what it basically is over time listening to me. I'll probably let things slip out. But yeah, the greatest existential crisis that I've ever felt, that I've ever experienced, I should say, for my soul. Not a dark night of the soul, something different. And I have been struggling. And there have been many, many, many times when I thought, will I come back to the channel? Or should I say, will I come back to our soul tribe? Because the channel is just where we meet, And for 6 months, the answer was, anyway, not yet. If at all, not yet, not now. But there was this tiny little pinpoint of faintly flickering light, kind of like when you look directly at a star and then you can't see it. But if you kind of look over here, you can kind of see that it's over there. It was something like that. A little flicker of, you'll get there. You will come back. So today, I awoke at 4 in the morning. I have to credit my now 12 cats, little update there, for being the physical cause of my waking up. But I wake up numerous times throughout the night, and I don't get up and start my day until I'm ready to. But today, when I awoke at 4 in the morning, I was up. So I fed the cats their morning breakfast, as I call it, and I started getting little but clear affirmations in spirit. Sometimes you see certain numbers or you hear a certain thing. You get, let's just say you discern a message. And I got like 4 of them today. And so I said, okay, and it is May 1st. It's the start of a fresh new month. Yeah. Ready or not, here I am. And I'm not ready. And I'm okay with that. I ask you to please be okay with that too. In the context of the realization that I'll never have all of my ducks in a row. I'll never have everything perfectly in order. There's a lot of things in life where if you are waiting for every single thing to be absolutely perfect and aligned in order, you're never going to do anything. You're going to be in a state of perpetual waiting and preparing and not doing and experiencing. So here I am, warts and all, bumps, dents, imperfections, flaws. I'm not ready to be back. I'm not through this existential crisis. But it's time to resume, and I'm answering the call, and here I am. And I want to thank you personally, again, from my heart, for standing by, for being patient, for waiting, for sharing with a few friends. I know you did, because another 100 have joined our little soul tribe here, and welcome again to the new subscribers. It means a lot to help get our messages out to more and more people who, because of how algorithms work, they will only be suggested this channel or these videos based on interaction from the viewers, which is subscribes, likes, and shares. So thanks for doing that. Welcome aboard, new 100. Soul Tribe. I'm not going to get too detailed and personal about what I'm struggling with, but I'll just give you an overview, and you'll get enough from that. It's kind of a confession. I'm being very vulnerable and honest and sincere in my authenticity in telling you this. I'm sorry. I have been, wow. See, I'm not over it. Not through it, I should say. I have been struggling very much with our species. I have reached a condition of being which I've coined a phrase for, and I call it saturation depletion. That sounds like an oxymoron, but it's the most perfect description using words that I can give. Saturation depletion. What I mean by that, in a general sense, is that for the past many months, I have been at a point where I am personally, utterly saturated of the world's impulses and messages, and being yanked around and fed this and told that and persuaded this and propagandized that and all this kind of, the world's narratives and agendas and information and messages and impulses. I've had it. Social media is a huge factor in that. Social media, which causes grave levels of depression, isolation, loneliness, despair, mental unwellness. It's an absolute fact that it does. I don't consider YouTube social media really, but it is on the peripheral of that, at least. And so that, the saturation part is I've had it. I can't absorb anymore. I can't even learn anything. I don't even want to read. I was offered complimentary, expensive complimentary courses. Hey, you know what? I know what you do, and I'd love to have you be a part of this. You can comp this course. Didn't even accept it, because I've got no room. I've got no capacity. I'm overflowed. I am saturated with the world's messages and information, to the point where I can't even, there's no room for me to learn the really good and noble, pure stuff that I would like to be doing. And the depletion part is from the inverse, from within. I reached a point where I had, and it's still largely true, I had nothing more to give. There's nothing more in me to give. I've given everything I have at that point up to now. I've got nothing for you. As U.G. Krishnamurti, not Jiddu, but U.G. Krishnamurti said, very vulgar and crass interview, to be honest with you, but at the end, the interviewer said to him, in closing, what parting words would you offer to someone who came seeking your guidance? And he said, F off, I've got nothing for you. Leave. So there were times when I felt, gee, I can kind of relate to that. I just had, you could call it burnout, but it was more depletion. I've just nothing more to give. And so when I came to realize and understand and accept that I had reached that condition, I said, number one, it is not appropriate for me to be offering any content on the channel at this time in this condition. Number two, I need to take care of me because of that. I haven't done a great job of taking care of me because very soon after I did the last video in September, I ended up in a very, very tedious and almost drawn out process of relocation. I moved, and I've got 3 more cats. Whoops, it's gonna be 5 more than I had then, and I built the most amazing cat garden enclosure you've ever seen because somebody had taken 2 of my cats and another one that they thought was mine that wasn't mine, so 3. It was very, very hard for me, and it was one of those things where, like they say, first the universe whispers, then it nudges, then it kind of pushes, and then it kicks you in the teeth, if you don't respond. So I kind of got my kick in the teeth because I did not want to have to face that, but that was coming and that came. But now the smoke has cleared. Well, the smoke hasn't cleared here in Thailand, smoke season, but the dust has settled, and it's one of those things where it was really a lot. It was hard to get through from November till April. The process of relocating, renovating an entire place from the ground up, a place that had nothing but walls and floor and roof. And I converted it into, it's like a palace now. It's the hermitage I always wanted. And it's a paradise for my cats, which is crucial for me because they need to be well, happy, and fat, and playing, and sleeping all day and all that. And then I can be at peace about them. So there's the update about me. I probably told you more than you needed, but I've been going through this existential crisis. I have become saturated and depleted. And as far as our species, as I alluded to before, I'm not sorry, okay? But I am repulsed at our species right now. I'm not sorry for feeling that way. But, and I could cite a million examples, and you already are thinking of some that you can relate to as to why I might feel that way. Maybe you also sometimes feel that way. And I also know people who never do. And I'm like, what are you drinking? I have not personally reached a point of enlightenment and transcendence and beyondness that I am unaffected by the ills and sins and misdeeds and selfishness and ignorance and arrogance and enthusiastically willing embracing of stupidity and evil that I see happening. And so it has affected me very, very deeply, and to the point of revulsion. I found myself feeling that a very appropriate phrase would be, I resign from the species. And yet, at the same time, especially if you've watched all the episodes, look how many beautiful, wonderful things have been acknowledged and examined and celebrated on this channel. So, on one hand, I'm being very honest and vulnerable and sincere and telling you this is what I have been experiencing in regards to our species, the world. I don't even blame the world. The world is the world, our species specifically. And on the other hand, I'm also concurrently aware that this is not a divinely enlightened, transcendent perspective. I have not arrived at the mountaintop of this realization process that I'm in right now. And that's what I said, that's what I was referring to when I said ready or not, here I am. And I'm not ready, and here I am. Please bear with me. Thank you for your compassionate understanding and empathy. And what I will what I will address as a mini topic today is something that's incredibly, well, it's not a mini topic, but I'll do it as briefly as I can. It's something that is so incredibly profound that everybody needs to have it as a go-to button in your mind, something engraved in your heart. And that means that I am the first in line for needing that right now. I admit that. There's no, I don't make any claims about myself or my progress or my spiritual path whatsoever. I just share whatever I can that I think is helpful and useful and practical for people who are willing to receive it, and that's you. You hear helicopters now because there's all kinds of forest fires going on here in Thailand because 'tis the season. This is every single year at this time. The temperatures exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit, over 40 Celsius. It's bone dry. The hill tribe people love to light fires and burn fields, and then they get out of control, and there's your helicopters doing some firefighting. So, the topic that has come to the forefront of my awareness in response to and as a result of, you could think of it as a fruit of this existential crisis that I am still very, very deeply entrenched in right now, but some beautiful gems have come from it. And one of them is the power of thoughts. Oh, that's jaded. Everybody knows about that. That's an old topic. Okay, hear me out. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic, he said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Your mind will be like its habitual thoughts, for the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." A lot of thoughts are not ours. They did not originate from us. They are out in the ethers, and our brain, which is a transceiver, it transmits and receives thoughts, picks them up like a ham radio antenna, okay? They're not all ours. But if we accept them or integrate them, hold on to them, carry them, hold them, whatever, well, then it's, as I've said before, possession is 9/10 of the law. Doesn't matter where it came from. You have absorbed it as your own. It is now your own, as long as you hold it. And even though I have not been doing well with managing the toxic or undesirable, yucky thoughts that have deluged my mind over the past many, many months, which I admit freely, I am nevertheless aware that this statement by Marcus Aurelius is absolutely true. The thoughts that you embrace, and think of them as, like an old record player, think of them as a record, and you choose to put it on your player and play it. Well, there goes that sound, that resonance, that frequency, that message is resonating out within you and without of you. You're resonating that out into the universe. You have become a sounding board for that message, for that resonance, and you are sending those vibes out to the universe and everyone that is within your immediate location. That's a fact. But more than that, you're swimming in it. What is it doing to you? And then you have to think to yourself, well, what record am I going to choose to play then? Certain kinds of music at certain frequencies with certain messages, lyrics, whatever, serve you and those around you by default, and some harm you and those around you by default. Your mind will be like its habitual thoughts. Okay, we get a dopamine hit. We're getting something from it. Okay, maybe you're looking at, I hope you're not looking at TikTok, but I know a lot of you are. It's the worst of the worst. But anyway, there is such an unstoppable torrent of garbage on that platform, all of them, but on particularly that one, that if you plug that into your head, wow, are you just getting a direct hit of pure garbage, toxic. And you might be saying, "Oh, I know, I hate this. I look at that and it freaks me out. I can't stand when I see her say this, and then he's always doing that." Well, there you are. There's what you're getting. You're getting your little hits. You're getting your little dopamine hits. You are loving to hate it. You're addicted. You're hooked. You're in the mess. And I have fallen victim to that too. Though not on that particular platform, but on somewhat less evil ones. And so all of those impressions and those impacts on your mind, they accumulate and they resonate and they color you. In other words, they impress upon you lasting impressions, marks, scars. Or, if they're very positive and helpful and they serve you, then the opposite is true for doing the same thing. So we have to not just guard our thoughts, we have to choose which ones we embrace and which ones we say, dismissed. Okay? Now, I came across a poem, and it's one of those things like where you find a quote and, oh, this quote was by Morgan Freeman. No, that was Abraham Lincoln. I thought it was Andy Rooney. No, it was the Buddha. Because the interwebs, okay? I have two versions of essentially the same message by two different people. And as far as I know, I can't verify that either of these people is existed or that this exact version was definitely written by them. I don't know. But to be honest with you, I don't care if Winnie the Pooh wrote this. Truth is truth, and I'm going to read both of them to you. And while I do that, I would like you to ask you to please close your eyes. Let's do that now. Close your eyes. Breathe in purity. And breathe out all distraction, noise, junk from your mind and your whole being. Ground yourself by visualizing a silver cable going from your root chakra all the way down to the centermost atom in the core of the earth. Ping, it's connected. And now feel that it is connected. And do the same from your crown chakra upwards with a silverish blue beam of light shooting up into the heavens, and connect to absolute divinity, which we can't define, but see that it is connected, and then feel it. And you are now a divine transceiver. And now, assent to receive the pithy soul higher self message contained in these two poems. The first one is by Henry Van Dyke, and it's called Thoughts Are Things. I hold it true that thoughts are things. They're endowed with bodies and breath and wings, and that we send them forth to fill the world with good results or ill. That which we call our secret thought speeds forth to earth's remotest spot, leaving its blessings or its woes like tracks behind it as it goes. We build our future thought by thought, for good or ill, yet know it not. Yet so the universe was wrought. Thought is another name for fate. Choose then thy destiny and wait. For love brings love, and hate brings hate. A poem by the same name, written by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. And they are very similar. You know how the internet, like the telephone game. But here's the message in a different version. I hold it true that thoughts are things, endowed with bodies, breath, and wings, and that we send them forth to fill the world with good results or ill. That which we call our secret thought speeds to the earth's remotest spot, and leaves its blessings or its woes like tracks behind it as it goes. It is God's law, remember it, in your still chamber as you sit. with thoughts you would not dare have known, and yet made comrades when alone. These thoughts have life, and they will fly, and leave their impress by and by, like some marsh breeze whose poisoned breath breathes into homes its fevered breath. And after you have quite forgot, or all outgrown some vanished thought, back to your mind to make its home, a dove or raven, it will come. Then let your secret thoughts be fair. They have a vital part and share in shaping worlds and molding fate. God's system is so intricate. So you get the point. Our thoughts, whether they originated from us or whether we just let them in and held them, they color our soul. Look around the next time you are in public, which I avoid as much as possible, and look at people's faces. Do a little people watching on the sly. Look at people's faces. You will see stories, some of them decades old. Some of them might have begun yesterday. But you will see stories, and you will see scowls and furrows and wrinkles and frowns, as well as radiant smiles, light-heartedness, bliss, contentment. Very underrated, by the way, contentment. You will see all these stories, and I assure you that they are the impression, the imprint of what thoughts that person has either consciously or unconsciously been letting play in their mind. So thoughts are things. I have been kicked in the face by a lot of the thoughts that I have allowed myself to entertain. And yet still among them, I have some of the most inexpressibly beautiful, definitely divinely inspired thoughts that anyone, I guess, could ever have. I have both. I struggle. Maybe you do too. But maybe this return video after 6 months will help you, and maybe someone you know, if you share it with someone you think would benefit from hearing it. I hope it has. Thank you for welcoming me back to the platform, and thank you for sticking around and staying true.